guys, welcome to another Salesforce Marketing Cloud Developer Group Meet. Today, we're talking about transferable skills for getting started with Marketing Cloud. And I'd love to introduce Cameron Roberts and Lakshmi S. Would you guys like to just say hello to everyone and just welcome yourselves?
Love to. Thank you, mate. So, Cameron Robert. I've been in Marketing Cloud now for about 7 years, working on the customer side here in Australia in Brisbane, also working on the partner side and more recently on the Salesforce side as well. And I'll be talking to you more shortly about some of the skills that I found very useful in the industry so far.
Another opportunity for you, Matt.
Are you waiting for me?
Yeah, you.
My name's Matt. I'm Community Group Lead, one of the Community Group Leads of the Salesforce Marketing Cloud Developers Group. And I'm not going to say anything more. Lakshmi?
Yeah, good one. Actually, this is Lakshmi here. Welcome. I haven't have any hands-on in Marketing Cloud, so it's just my curiosity to learn more, participate more, and contribute more and share more. So this is another opportunity for me to learn from Cameron Robert. Thanks.
No problem. This meeting, just a couple of ads for upcoming meetings. We're almost doing weekly meetings, almost, not quite. We've got a lot of content that's coming in, so we're sort of on an almost weekly schedule. So there's 2 more meetings online next couple of weeks. Check out our group for that. There's been a strong response to doing a strong request to try to do this type of meeting monthly, transferable skills. Greg Guilford will be joining us next month in the hot seat as the Marketing Cloud guru to talk through that. So that's just about to be announced, and that'll be in about a month's time. So we'll keep doing these transferable skills for getting started with Marketing Cloud. So today, we've 3 sections. We've got the soft skills, we've got the hard skills, and then we've got the Q&A and a bit of chat and just try and work through it. So to kick the soft skills off, I will share my screen. Now, I hope this isn't too boring, but what we'll do is we'll do this as a quiz. So I'm going to present to the group now, a QR code where you can join. And I've got to share my screen. So I think you've got it. Actually, I think I can just share my screen. I want to share a tab. And like I said, we do edit these. I can cut this bit of that stuff out about me trying to find the right tabs. So there we go. All right. So if you'd like to, and I am going to, scan this code in on your phone, answer a couple of questions, and we'll do a quiz about Salesforce Marketing Cloud soft skills. So I'm just holding my phone up, opening Chrome.
Just checking we're going through the login form as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Now I've done this before, so it's got all my details already. And I've logged in on my phone, and I can now see the same screen. So I can see 11 people have joined so far. So I think we've got 12 joined. So you can play on your phone. I think everyone's done this sort of thing. We've all been through COVID, haven't we? Let's wait until we get to about 20. And I can't see the chat anymore, but if you're struggling to get in and you need a bit more time, do you want to just
That's right, I'll triage the chat. So there is the link from the QR code you can see on your screen now, but I'll also chuck in, I believe, a link into the chat. And I do think this will get you to the same place.
Yeah, well done.
Otherwise, you can also see the short link at the top of the screen there as well.
Now, how many people? We've got 20 in the survey. And we've got,
no access code. It is just going to be your name, organization, email address. That's just part of the slides, or AHA slides.
I love AHA slides. They're good. Okay, the first one. Okay, so here are all our players playing this quiz. Cool. 25 people on the quiz now. 26. Okay, so people are pouring in. I might go back to that previous screen just for a bit longer. How many people have we got in the room now? Joined.
We're at 27.
27. So the numbers are still going up. Look, let's kick this off. We've got 18 players, 25 in the room. Let's start the quiz. Okay, so question 1, answer before time runs out. Look at your device. And you can just pick one. But what do you reckon is your most best superpower for working with Salesforce Marketing Cloud? Remember, these are the soft skills. Cameron's going to talk about the hard skills, but these are the soft skills. So just pick one. And there's no right or wrong answer.
Very keen to see the results for this one.
Oh,
There's some
I've
good answers on there.
Yep, I've done mine. So, lots of thinking time. 20 seconds. So if anyone needs any more time, do we need some music for this?
After you, Matt, you're welcome to sing.
I don't know if I can make it go any faster, so we've just got a countdown. Can anyone whistle? Who's a good whistler? If you are, open up your own.
JB, if you do scroll up in the chat, you will find that there is a link you can click on there as well.
Yeah.
Also on the screen share, you'll see that's ahaslides.com/ it's either an I or an L.
I think it's a lowercase l, to be honest.
Lowercase l, 1E49. Gotta love
12,
those
10,
characters.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I hope everyone's voted. Collaborating, contributing.
Wow.
Yeah, so everyone came through with that. I actually voted for smiling, and it hadn't come up. My phone's broken. I think smiling is a superpower too, but that's really interesting. What's your take on that, Cameron?
Totally agree. I'm not sure why contributing came through as an X though. That's definitely a superpower to have, is to contribute to the community. All of those, in fact, mate, and I'm not going to lie, my thing here says I took 21 seconds to answer that one.
Yeah.
And for good reason, those are all very valuable skills to have.
Yeah. I think the only reason it's X is I've set it up as the wrong answer, but it's not the wrong answer. They're all right answers. So don't feel sad if you've got the one for contributing, because that is the correct answer. Excellent. So one of the most important things about being doing Salesforce Marketing Cloud, and I think you're getting a sense of it just from the chit chat that we're having here. It's just about having a bit of fun and just about really just persevering and having what this person here has heaps of, and that's tenacity. So let's play this video. This was recorded a couple of weeks ago. We're just chatting about upcoming events and just talking through stuff.
Lakshmi Pavni, and I'm a success.
Just before I go on, can everyone hear the video?
There is a feedback on your side though, so you'll have to mute yourself, I think, Matt.
Okay.
Possibly.
Yeah, loud and clear.
There is feedback on my side.
When you press play, you may have to mute yourself, I think. There was a bit of a feedback loop happening.
Trailblazer in the Melbourne community, both Revenue Cloud or Marketing Cloud or CPQ, whatever it is. But I'm working as an associate consultant in Jarvis, and I'm a person who is fascinated about Marketing Cloud. Still looking for it. Learn more.
What's your tip? What's your tip for everyone that wants to get?
Don't stop asking questions.
And what's your, okay, say that again.
Don't stop asking questions or favor. There is no harm. Either it's a no or it's yes, right? So I always, whenever I asked you for volunteering in Marketing Cloud, I feel a bit like, how can I say? I feel a bit odd or, awkward. Why am I asking Matt? Am I troubling him? But okay, let me check again. If there is a yes, we will miss it, right? If I don't ask that. So I feel good whenever I ask a question. If it is a no, I will ask it again. If not, then I will close that question there. Yeah.
It's a bit of fun putting that together. We did that a couple of weeks ago, like I said. Lakshmi, what's your do you still believe those words?
Absolutely, I enjoy.
What's that?
I will definitely stick to those words, whatever I said.
Yeah.
I will keep on asking things because I need to find answers, and then I will keep on sharing because somebody has to find their own answers.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I know when you first sort of joined the group, and that was 3 or 4 years ago, you're asking questions all the time, and I think it's just such an important thing.
Yeah.
So we've got on the screen now, in a word, how do you feel when you're being listened to? Once again, these are the soft skills, and listening was one of the things there. Important, energized, happy. Nothing's sort of popping up as a big word cloud thing. So I think this is set up so you can answer a couple of times. Is there any one of those words that sort of you want to answer more than once and say, yep, this is definitely how I feel when I'm being listened to?
Looks like included and empowered are starting to show a little bit larger.
Yeah. Included. Included, like it's like a hub around a wheel. If I'm listened to, I feel included. Let's stop there, I guess. Part of the discussion, respected. I think what's empowered, happy, valued, respected, great, motivated. I think the takeaway is when you flip this around, how does it make you feel when you listen to, when as a soft skill, a superpower, when you really listen to other people, this is how you make them feel. So just try to ask this question backwards. So how do you feel when you really listen to them? If you want people that you're working with to feel motivated, part of the discussion, happy, really listening to them makes them feel like that. And they're good things for those people to feel it, because when they feel that way, they're more likely inclined to be collaborating with you. So that's a really awesome superpower to have, is to really, really listen well. So something that you've heard me talk about a little bit is how you can collaborate and communicate with the Marketing Cloud Minute. And what is the Marketing Cloud Minute? It's a short 1 minute video where you share introduction, interesting fact, what makes a difference, why it matters, and a call to action about who you are and how people can connect with you about your tip. So it's not an elevator pitch. It's more than that. It's twice an elevator pitch. It's something you can share on social media. It's a way of contributing and also collaborating. So you're saying, this is how I collaborate in the community. This is how I listen. These are my super skills. And this is how it's a way of contributing and connecting with others. So we do this regularly. And here's some tips. I'm not going to share this, but we've got some here that were done recently, just from some of the community. You might recognize some of the faces there. They're Marketing Cloud tips. I might just let's just dive in and see if we can find one. So I'll just zoom ahead. There we go.
Today with their emails and SMS, and what do you like most yourself? Like,
I'll just get back to the beginning. I'll send the link out for this, but this is just an example.
Hey guys, my name is Marloes Serps. You can just call me Marley. I'm a senior solution architect at Salesforce. I've been in consulting nearly my whole career for nearly over 8 years now. So I started in Q&A testing, moved into a functional role, solution engineering as well, more on the pre-sales side. Moved into more of a solution architect role, and am now senior solution architect at Salesforce. So, but always heavy focus on the more business side, consulting side. So my top tips for today: how can you get help with Marketing Cloud, or how can you get started? Just become an expert in the field. So sign up to newsletters of different clients, of different industries, different companies, so that you get exposure to what our company is doing today with their emails and SMS, and what do you like most yourself. Like, put yourselves in the shoes of the customer. That would be my key tip. And then the other thing is reach out to your network. If you have any questions, reach out. There's a lot of people out there to help.
My name's Matt Cameron, and I help people connect with digital marketing. My digital marketing.
I'm not going to share any more about me, but I think you get the gist. Finally, and that's as far as the slide deck goes, reach out if you've got any questions about putting your tips together. We're certainly here to help, and got a bit of a cheat sheet about how to go about doing that. So I'm going to stop sharing the script. And really, that was just a bit of a soft skills roundup about how to get involved in Marketing Cloud. I guess all those soft skills equally apply to a lot of other things, but you're going to find those sorts of things really work. And I think what we heard in that Marketing Cloud minute just a few moments ago about asking questions, if you're not asking questions, people don't know who you are even. So don't be afraid to ask questions, because it's just a great way of getting onto people's radar and letting them know what you're doing. Ask them on social media, ask them in forums, be respectful, but just start making a noise and letting people know you're out there, because it's just a great way of getting involved. That's it for the soft skills. Cameron, it's your turn.
My pleasure. I might steal the screen if that's all right. And
definitely. Do I have to stop?
No, not at all. You're all good. You should see my screen coming through now.
Cool.
Perfect. I get a thumbs up. We're looking good. Thumbs up. Perfect. All right. So as I probably said as we started off the session today, my name is Cameron. I've been doing Marketing Cloud for about 7 years now, first on customer side, then partner side, and more recently on the Salesforce side. I was a marketing champion. I've done a few talks at world tours and base camps and other community events. I was the group leader, just like Matt Cameron is for the Melbourne SFMC DG group. I was the leader of the Brisbane group for a while there as well. And more recently, I'm working as a solution architect at Salesforce. I've got a few social handles that you can find me on. I've got a blog going on a website. I've got my LinkedIn, which I regularly post my own Marketing Cloud minutes, and also my YouTube channel there as well. But jumping into today, I'm going to talk about a few things about the hard skills that we have inside Marketing Cloud. I'm going to be talking about what roles there are generally in the Marketing Cloud ecosystem. I'm going to talk through what kinds of skills you're likely to see those roles looking after, and how you can exceed and do well in those roles, where you can find places to learn those skills, how you can pivot your existing skill base into Marketing Cloud. If you haven't been in Marketing Cloud before, so like Lakshmi, ways you can pivot your skills into Marketing Cloud, and then what's next? What else can you do with those skills once you're in that ecosystem? So jumping in, what makes a good, hopefully someone can pick up on my my nod here to some scripture, but what makes a good role in Marketing Cloud? Well, the first thing is there's a few different kinds of roles out there. So I like to think, and I was taught once by a good mentor, that when you think about a role, you think about how you can become someone who is that role, you can fulfill your career progression. You have to think, well, what makes them good? What is a good insert title here? The kinds of roles you're likely to see are things like the email campaign production specialists. You'll see marketing campaign analysts. You'll see automation specialists. You can read the list there for yourself. There's lots of different roles out there. I put a footnote there, which is that the roles and titles are kind of different in different companies. What is to one company an email production specialist may in fact be a automation analyst in another company. So don't lock in on a title and say that's what I'm going to be or that's what I should learn, because different companies do have different meanings for different roles. And further to that, there's often sometimes some junior, senior connotations behind those roles as well. So you may find that a junior automation specialist has a very different roles and responsibilities to a senior automation specialist. And further, working on the customer side versus partner side versus vendor side also have their very, very different circles of skills you have to learn. Working at a very small company, perhaps only where it's a very small marketing team, you may be the only marketing specialist in the team, which means you're responsible for all forms of marketing. That could be your page, your social, it's going to be your email, of course, and who knows what else. But for larger companies and enterprises, they're likely to have entire teams dedicated to Marketing Cloud all by itself. There may be dozens who use Marketing Cloud. And perhaps your role in that greater team is for a very, very specific skill set to just build emails, just do data, just send emails, just report on emails. Your skills are much thinner because there's so many more people on either side of you in that company. And likewise, if you're in the consulting or partner space, again, the different customers you may work with, depending on the speciality of the partner that you work with, they also may have different roles and responsibilities that you have to jump onto those accounts and help out with. So the takeaway here is that there are lots of roles. You're going to see a lot of these names out there if you are looking on Seek, if you're looking at job titles on LinkedIn, you'll see a lot of different roles. The trick is to dig beyond the role and understand what some of those skills are going to be to make that duty up. Once you understand what those look like, you can start to factor in what you think your progression path is going to look like. A great example could be, perhaps you really enjoy emails. You just love HTML and CSS. Well, chances are building emails is going to be your career path. If you're really enjoying that, it's going to be something to do with email, campaign, production, these kind of words. If you like SSJS, if you like AMScript, if you like SQL, if you like APIs and those sort of fun developer things, chances are the word architect or developer or something might come into it, something more technical. And so all of a sudden, these flavors of role titles begin to make sense. All right, and also don't forget you can jump questions into the chat as well. I've got my chat window open, so do feel free to ask any questions as I talk through today in the chat. So what are some of these key skills you keep talking about? What can these roles be comprised of? What hard skills should I know to start fulfilling some of these roles? Well, for those who've been working in the area for a while, you're going to see a couple of familiar faces, but if you see some surprises, I'll explain why. Number one is HTML and CSS. Now, this language is throughout Marketing Cloud. It is the most common piece of language you're going to be speaking in Marketing Cloud, particularly if you're in the email sending space. So it's going to be a very common language. Plus, it's actually very easy to learn. The internet is built on HTML. You will find resources everywhere on how to learn it. It's used across most of the platform again, and it's definitely a great language to start with as well. So if you are a marketer and you haven't got any languages under your belt just yet, HTML is a great starting point. It does set you up with a couple of syntaxes, a couple of keywords, which you'll learn through learning how to do, make your own web pages, make your own emails. You'll learn those keywords and those will come back and help you later on as you learn more complex languages. So if you are looking to start out, try HTML and CSS first. Just so you know, HTML is hypertext markup language and CSS is cascading style sheets. They are put together in this one, and the reason being because the HTML is the structure and the CSS is what makes it pretty. It's going to be the easiest way to explain it. So the style sheets, the CSS, is the paint on the structure that you build with HTML. Now, with that in your head, go forth and have a read around. And again, you're going to find lots of resources on how to learn this language. Next up, JavaScript. Now, before those who know better start chiming into the chat, let me explain. JavaScript is not common at all in Marketing Cloud, at all. It's actually very difficult to learn too. So why is it here? Why did I put this slide up? Well, there is server-side JavaScript inside Marketing Cloud. That's a bit more advanced though. But if you do learn JavaScript, you actually learn a lot of fundamentals about programming languages, about how to set up and declare variables, how to set up functions and conditions, how to do for loops. These base skills in JavaScript are free and very, very easy to access language. Again, 98% of websites on the internet use JavaScript, so the resources out there are fantastic. By learning JavaScript, you're going to learn some fundamentals about programming. Now, the reason I say this is because there are in fact 3 languages within Marketing Cloud, but they are proprietary languages. They're not exactly accessible externally. You have to be in Marketing Cloud to use them. So JavaScript is the closest you can probably get to get some of those skills so that when you do get into Marketing Cloud, it actually makes a lot more sense. I can liken it to you have no friends who speak Italian, but you have a friend who can speak Spanish. So if you learn a bit of Spanish for your Spanish friend, when you go to Italy for your honeymoon, the language it won't be perfect, but at least you'll begin to pick up a few key words. It makes sense a little bit. I hope that makes sense. So again, the other languages I'm referring to, of course, being AMScript, server-side JavaScript, and the GTL, they are common languages in Marketing Cloud. Learning JavaScript will help you to learn those once you get into Marketing Cloud. Next one, SQL. Now this one's a little more advanced. For the average marketer, you're probably not going to see the words SQL in your daily job, but if it comes to succeeding in Marketing Cloud, knowing a little bit about this language is going to really help you out. Now the reason here is that in Marketing Cloud, everything is in data. Personalization occurs through mail merges. We are merging data sets with emails to produce personalized communications to our customers. That data is stored in a table. That table is accessible and readable via SQL, the structured query language. Now, it is a pretty verbose language to learn. It's pretty easy to read and to understand. To master it, those are going to take you a few years. So I have put difficulty medium there for this language, but do try it out. If you can master controlling the data in your Marketing Cloud instance, you can do some truly fantastic things. If you can't control the data, then you're at the mercy of that data, and you can only do whatever you can control. So do pick up SQL if you get a chance. Again, for the average marketer, not going to be a language you have to do, but if you can walk into your enterprise and then know some SQL and start running your own automations, your own queries, you'll find that your ability to control and manage that data will be so powerful with the activities that you can run. Now, put in perspective, as a quick recap so far, and thank you, Lad, definitely a portable skill. Thank you very much. As a quick recap, so emails are built with HTML and CSS. So to make good emails, you should know HTML and CSS. Personalization through AMScript, SSJS, and GTL is similar to JavaScript. Again, it's not the same, but it's very similar. So if you can learn JavaScript right now, you're going to be in a very powerful position once you get your hands on the Marketing Cloud, because AMScript, SSJS, and GTL will be very familiar to you. And finally, data is manipulated via SQL. So if you're going to be a strong email builder, HTML, CSS, strong skills for development, personalization, a bit of JavaScript will help you out right now. And of course, for data, it's SQL, that's segmentation and targeting. These three skills do create a bit of a triforce of skills and power. So definitely do try and touch at least all three of them. Focus on one or two if you like. Again, that's going to be dictated by your career path, where you want to be, what interests you most. But a little bit in all three will really, really help you out. Now, additionally, there are a few other skills that are going to really be useful to you in the Marketing Cloud space. Now, these are still put down as hard skills because they are particular around this industry and this platform. Email marketing, for one. If you are going to be in Marketing Cloud, chances are you're doing a bit of email marketing and understanding a bit about how the rules, the laws, how segmentation works, how targeting works. These kind of things are going to be very important for you to understand how the platform of Marketing Cloud interacts with your wider business. So it's not going to be the easiest thing, though, to learn these rules. You can go and find your local laws and rules around privacy and data. Those do exist. The Australian principles of privacy are pretty dry read, but it's very, very good and useful to understand what the rules are around contacting customers, what consent is, and what you need to do to receive that consent. Additionally, some of the email marketing skills you can learn are not just about the privacy and the laws, but about how email marketing sits within the wider business. So why email marketing exists, how your team interacts with other parts of the platforms, other parts of your business, your customers, and so on. Again, these can be difficult to learn. So the last little point there really tips you off. Check out Trailhead. There's a few really, really good trails on some of these marketing skills, more general email marketing skills. They will fill you in on some of those keywords. They'll set you in the right direction of the right terminology, the right ways of thinking, the strategies, and the actions you can do to become a good email marketer. And finally, a bit of analytics as well, because doing your job is good, but if you don't know if you're doing a good job, that's not very good. You have to know if you're doing a good job or not. You have to know if what you're doing is making impact. So some marketing analytics will really help you out too. Now, there are some common platforms out there. Of course, to jump into Datarama and Tableau, you do have to have licenses, but you can still sign up for some free ones out there. There are platforms like Google Analytics, which you can sign up to. You can get yourself a free WordPress site, and you can see for yourself what happens when customers or yourself hits those websites and triggers page views and actions on page. If you understand analytics, you can begin to understand why emails exist, how they help take your customers from their phone, from their inbox, to your website, back to their cart to finish their transaction, back to the support page to get help. You understand what place emails have in your business, how it's tracked, how to measure it, how to A/B test it and produce some uplift. These skills are, again, very, very useful. You do get them on the job, but if you can come into a role with these skills, you'll be measurably better against the competition. So have a read around. There are some great articles out there as well. I couldn't find a whole lot to link, but I've got some more slides coming up, which will set you on this path of the ways to think and the keywords you'll hear about and the strategies you'll see. Again, Trailhead's a great place to start. There's quite a few trails on analytics, and they'll start to teach you some of the words, the methods, and the processes you can do to make sure that what you're doing is making a positive impact in your database. Okay. So let's say that you are sitting here today, you're not in the marketing ecosystem, but you're looking to come into it and you don't have these skills just yet, but you'd really like to get started. So where can I go to learn them? Well, the best thing is they're all free. These are all publicly accessible, easy to get into, free languages. First bullet point there is Google is your friend. I've got a very, very close friend and we jest a lot that knowing how to Google is in fact a hard skill. And I'll back that up. Knowing how to Google is a very good skill to have. So jump onto Google and literally type in learn HTML, learn JavaScript, or learn SQL. You're going to find an absolute deluge of learning academies, code academies and things. I've got a few there, W3 Schools, Code Academy, Stack Exchange, and of course YouTube, of places you can go and learn these skills. Now, some are totally free. Free to access and no other restrictions or paywalls. Some do have limited access before you have to pay to access them. We have to log in, make a free account, that sort of stuff. There are also sites like Skillshare and Udemy and Pluralsight and so many more, which will start you on these paths. Again, curated learning paths to get these particular skills. When it comes to local marketing laws, though, again, you have to research those for yourself. There are a few good ones here in Australia. For the rest of the international viewers, you will have your own local laws as well. If you have a contact in marketing, they'll be able to point you in the right direction. The best thing is you don't actually need to be in Marketing Cloud to practice these things either. These hard skills can be learnt yourself on your desktop right now, today. And thank you, Vlad, exactly right. There is, in fact, a SQL fiddle you can play around with as well. You can get SQL Server Management Studio. That is a big desktop application. It will create an SQL database on your computer that you can then play with. Or as Vlad has put in the chat, also SQL Fiddle will give you some chances there to practice with your own SQL. HTML, CSS, and JavaScript can be done in, now put Notepad, I'm a purist, but also applications like VS Code, brackets, Sublime, and there's so many more, by the way. But you can then practice how to do HTML and CSS and JavaScript on your desktop. These do not require servers to run. You do not have to be logged into a platform to use these. You can literally right-click on your desktop, if you're a PC driver, create a new file and call it something.html. And you can put HTML, CSS, and JavaScript in that file, modify it in Notepad, save it and open it in Chrome, and you can see your results for yourself. It's like painting with code. You see the real-time feedback from your desktop. Give it a try. It's a great way to practice and learn. And in fact, the best way to practice and learn is to actually see something that's working really well and try and copy it. So I think as Marley said on that video that Matt Cameron played earlier, is that having subscriptions to emails is a great way to see what's happening, where the industry is going, what emails look like. I'll do you one more. There's a website called reallygoodemails.com. You can search in Google for yourself, Really Good Emails, and it's a curated site of, you guessed it, really good emails. Great site to have as a bit of a resource backup. If you need inspiration on how to lay out your emails, what it could look like on desktop and mobile, all really good emails are curated on that site. You can search for them. You can even search for Salesforce emails. They're all on there, and it's some great inspiration. Try it for yourself. Try and rebuild one of those emails in HTML on your desktop. It'll be great practice. Also, MailChimp, you can also jump into for free. You can create a free account. There's more than just MailChimp, of course. There's way more out there. But you can practice some of those drag and drop content block methodologies, how to build emails, headers and footers, mail merges with lists. You can begin to practice those processes for sending emails. Analytics, again, is also free. So if you have a WordPress site or a similar, I'm going to say MySpace, but that kind of online cloud-based website, you can make your own Google Analytics account, track it for yourself, and begin to see the analytics come through for yourself. Again, that's going to really help you understand what web traffic looks like and how emails are designed to promote users from their inbox to the website. And finally, some industry news and white papers. LinkedIn's a great resource place, but you're going to find reports such as the State of Marketing report that's out from Salesforce at the moment, plus things like the Salesforce Plus on-demand service. Great videos from industry leaders across the world who talk about what they're doing in their marketing stack at the moment. So try and keep up to date with those things. It would give you a really good sharp edge as to what's happening right now in the industry. All right, let's say you've got these skills now. You've gone and built some cool emails on your desktop. You've gone and got some SQL fiddle, and you've played around, and you're feeling pretty good. You've now got some skills, but you still haven't got that magical key into Marketing Cloud. You haven't quite got that role with a customer or a partner or in Salesforce to jump into Marketing Cloud just yet. So how can I take these hard skills and pivot them into Marketing Cloud? Well, Trailhead. Definitely Trailhead. First place to go. There are 142, I checked this morning, there's 142 modules that you can jump into right now under Marketing Cloud. Now, not all of them will have to do with hard skills, granted. You can see on the screen there, got some Salesforce Genie and some B2B solutions, but quite a few of them will start you off with those keywords. When you jump into Marketing Cloud, there's a lot of keywords, a lot of kind of insider language that you won't be familiar with on day one. But by starting through Trailhead, taking some of your existing hard skills like HTML and CSS, listening to some of the keywords that come through in these trailheads, subscriber keys, content blocks, templates, cloud pages, these keywords begin to become more and more familiar to you. You'll be able to pivot directly into Marketing Cloud the moment you land that job on day one. You can take those skills and work them straight into that new role. Also, as I think Matt alluded to with the soft skills, connect with people and participate. There are so many groups, LinkedIn groups, Slack groups, the Travelers community groups, YouTube groups. They are everywhere. There's even a denotion of trailblazers, the MVPs and the champions, those anointed by Salesforce as being the ones to listen to in the community, the ones who are doing the most impact for good in the learning community. There are so many of them out there. Reach out on LinkedIn, follow them, listen to what they're saying, jump on the Slack groups, jump on the Trailblazers community groups, and you'll start to immerse yourself in the language of what's going on in the community. So jump in and connect. Further, get certified. Now, you do not need to be, I think, Lakshmi, you now are certified, or you're on your way to be certified as well?
Yeah, email specialist.
There you go. And not a day just yet into Marketing Cloud?
No.
There you go. So you can take the learnings from Trailhead and from that email cert practice trails, and you can actually begin to understand and get your first certifications, which makes you so Marketing Cloud ready, which means that when an opportunity comes up, when there's a chance to work with a customer, a vendor, or Salesforce themselves, you'll already have a one step up above the competition. You've got those hard skills. You understand how the language works. And in fact, I do implore those in Australia to jump onto job sites like Indeed or Seek or Workday. Have a look for yourself. Type in those keywords of Marketing Cloud and have a look down at the skills required for those roles. You'll see a lot of the things I've shown here today. So by having those skills, by having those certs, and by having these connections in the community, you'll find yourself so very well positioned to take up a role with Marketing Cloud in one of those companies. All right, so I've talked a lot today, but I've got one more thing. What's next? You're in Marketing Cloud. You've been doing it for a while. You've picked up all these great skills. You've now fluent in AmpScript and SSJS and all the rest. What else? You've got all these skills. What else can you pivot these skills to? Well, there's a couple of cool things that I've been playing with a lot recently, actually, and I'm loving them. So to start with, formerly known as Evergage, formerly known as Interaction Studio, currently known as Marketing Cloud Personalization, you will find this platform is going to really utilize your JavaScript skills. This is the web Marketing Cloud component. It's the ability to track things online on a website, take those event feeds and feedbacks, create affinities of your customers, and then present them back with personalized segments and offers. It's going to use a lot of HTML, CSS, some JavaScript, but Angular, some mustache code as well. There's a lot of code in there if you're going to be an Interaction Studio developer. As a marketer, you also are going to want to understand those languages, know how they're interacting on your site, how your offers and promotions are going to change the way the site will react. So a great way to pivot those skills if you're loving being a developer in Marketing Cloud is pivot towards the Marketing Cloud personalization. Use that JS skill. Very few email marketers have JavaScript skills because you can't do JavaScript in emails. So if you've followed this guide so far, you'll be one of the few who have JavaScript. And you'll find a pivot into Marketing Cloud personalization a very easy one. Now, further to that is, of course, the Genie, the CDP. The Customer Data Platform is a data modeling way that you can enrich and create identity unifications to create segments for personalization across your wider data structure, your warehouse of data. Now, integration of this platform is extensive and getting bigger and better every day. But the great thing is it's a lot to do with data. So if you've gone down a more data path, if you're liking SQL, you like automations and segmentation, that sort of stuff, you're going to find CDP is going to be a really great transition for you. So again, you've got these hard skills. It's not just Marketing Cloud that's into the road. You've now got more places to pivot to next, more platforms to pick up based on your interests and your skills. So I hope you can see there's some really cool things in this space, and having some of these hard skills, even though it may not be your job, can really help you with your next step. And that's all from me.
Thank you so much, Cameron. Thank you so much.
What I should do, Matt, I should address any questions too. I'll give the group a chance now. If you want to jump into the chat.
Yeah, there's a takeaway that we just mentioned. That I think it doesn't stop. You just, what was running through my head with that last slide, that just doesn't stop. It's just a learning. And it's always just, what more? Okay, how can I learn this to do that? And it's not just the hard skills. It can be, you might go off and do some teaching, because as a consultant, if you can teach, having that crossover about how to educate people is a really good skill to have. So you find you go off in sorts of different directions. It's not just about the Marketing Cloud, but it's a good base, and there's just so many things you can pull out of it or draw back into it, and you'll find yourself doing that over time. I certainly have. That was just what was running through my mind, Cameron, when you said, what's next. There's never an end to what's next. There's always something, what next?
I can see some Q&A questions, so I might start to jump through those. I'm sorry for those who are jumping into the Q&A channel. I had the chat channel up, so I'll go through those now if you like. One of the questions that's, sure. Yep.
I have been trying to put answers on those as you've been speaking. So there's a few answers at the bottom. So yeah, just try and marry those up, but definitely go through.
No, absolutely. I'm just seeing a few of them now. Absolutely correct on the solution architect versus a technical architect. You'll find that a technical architect, a TA, is a lot more in the tools, in the platform, doing a lot more building, APIs and development tasks. Whereas a solution architect is kind of one more level up, and they need to be responsible for the overall architecture and design, the wider plumbing, if you would, of the solution, to make sure that what's being built is going to fit nicely within the rest of the business unit or the enterprise. And so it's important for that role to understand the architecture, understand the impacts, make sure they conduct the testing, and make sure it passes all the validations and the requirements for the task.
I think an important thing when you're working in a team is that you might have these titles that helps describe what you do, but everyone's equal in a team. And one of my favourite things I say when I go into a new team, that we're the only experts here. We're going to have to sort it out ourselves. And it's always tricky. It's always hard. And it's just having a team collaborative spirit about what we do. The SA, the solution architect, will talk with the client, get those use cases and turn them into technical stories. So we take the user stories and turn them into technical stories, which have got some more detail on them. That's done with the TA. You don't solution by yourself, you solution in teams. You work through things in pairs. You get the ideas, you build the foundation up together. It's not one person that's ever doing this. And the TA then becomes, with the SA, they're building out the technical stories. And then you're going down another level with the devs, and you're working out what each of the subtasks that we need to do to get this work done. And you're sort of breaking down the work like that. So there's this flow. It sounds like waterfall, but it's just as, it can be done just as much in Agile, but you're sort of breaking down the process. So there's those levels. SA's off with the client, more so external, whereas you've got the TAs really internal, team leadership. Very good, very important skill for a TA to have because they're leading the team. And you've got the devs that are working with both the SA and the TA. And quite often, like I work as an SA, talk to devs, and they'll have the best ideas in the world. They're actually doing stuff. They know what it really means, and all the ideas come from everywhere. So I think the important thing there is it's not one person makes it happen; it's the whole team that makes it happen. Even the functional consultants. It's just so important.
That's it. A lot of roles out there. In fact, one that was mentioned on one of the questions is a marketing cloud consultant. Again, every role has different meaning. You will see that these names will get spliced up and moved around, and senior, junior, and all kinds of meanings. Generally, consulting is generally more business focused. You are consulting with the customer. You may be a technical consultant though, so you're consulting more technically with the customer, but consulting generally means that you understand how it should work or how it should look. You're understanding what the customer is requiring or what the job at hand is, and you're consulting back with some strategy, some advice, some direction. Consulting. The word's in the name.
Yeah. The client will give you 5 or 6 things that you need done, and you've got to direct that into something that can be built. So you're sort of guiding that conversation from the blue sky, those headlines about what we want to do, into something that's really buildable and doable.
Exactly right. Great question here as well about a Marketo certified expert moving into Marketing Cloud. Definitely there's a few differences, and definitely hard to get tools, hands-on tools in Marketing Cloud without working with someone who's got the tool. Again, there are great ways you can search for those roles on job platforms like your Seek, your Indeed, your LinkedIn, and so on. You will find that most people who have Marketing Cloud in their business, most customers, most partners, will specifically call out Marketing Cloud as the product of use. They won't just say email specialist. They won't just say campaign officer. They'll usually say Marketing Cloud. If not in the title, sometimes a little bit further down, something like understands Marketing Cloud or has Marketing Cloud experience. You'll usually find that keyword popping up. So do use that as a very strong search term if you want to try and get into the roles. There are also opportunities, I know, that occur at some partners and some universities where they do have programs where you can sign up to participate and become a bit of a learner through these courses. There is also, I believe, a few .org groups out there. I forgot them right now off the top of my head, but there are a few that do run courses, some free, some paid, which do give you access temporarily to Marketing Cloud to learn some of these skills on platform before, of course, you're finishing with the program, you get your certificate, and then you don't have the access anymore. But there are some ways out there to get access. I do think that we'll have a conversation at the end about other kind of volunteering access points that you can jump into as well. Perfect. Another question here from Lakshmi was actually, how do we get familiar with some of the SFMC terminology? Again, great question. A lot of the keywords you'll find, the useful ones in Marketing Cloud, they will stick in your head very quickly. You'll see words like subscriber key, you'll see template, you'll see content zones, and content blocks. You'll see these things. Trailhead's a great place, honestly. If you read through the trailhead, you're going to pick up a lot of these words very quickly because they're not common words to read. And when you do, you're like, that's a thing. And if you Google it, you'll actually find a lot of documentation. It's hosted on the Salesforce site and far beyond through Wikipedia sites, through Stack Exchange, through YouTube. You're going to find a lot of sites out there which will often reference those keywords. So if you're ever in distress and you're not sure how to solve a problem, look for the closest keyword. If you're in Content Builder, that's a great start. Content Builder, great keyword. If it's content blocks in Content Builder, then type exactly that into Google. Those keywords are very strong and they do not overlap that well with Adobe or other products. So you will actually find that the keywords of Marketing Cloud are actually quite unique. Luckily, very, very luckily. So finding resources about things you're having problems with is actually pretty easy. To get more familiar with the keywords, though, again, Trailhead's a great place. When you do have a problem or you do try to understand a certain keyword, jump on Stack Exchange, have a read through as well. You'll often find that one keyword relates to other keywords too. Content blocks will relate to emails and templates and relate to Einstein recommendations and will relate to other elements of the platform. And you'll begin to understand in almost like a word cloud how they all relate to each other. That begins to make a lot more sense.
Yeah, and there's also a reason for the words like subscriber key. It's also describing a point of view. One I like is data extension. Now, you might say that's just a table in a database, but there's other attributes to it that it's more of an object. It's a concept as well. It's got data retention. It's got a whole lot of other attributes that are associated with it. So it goes beyond just a table. It is a data extension. And it's different. So if you were looking for an SQL table, then that's just an SQL table. If you're looking for a data extension inside Marketing Cloud, whilst you could consider it like a table, it's got so many more attributes to it. So there's a reason why they've got their names. There is sense in there. It may seem a bit silly at first, but there is a bit of sense to it all.
And again, it does help you to search those words up for yourself as well. So if you do get lost, again, they're great keywords. Even saying Marketing Cloud or SFMC first, and then that keyword, you'll often find very, very good results. Next question down was regarding I think it was JavaScript, sorry, there's a JavaScript one here. You mentioned JavaScript, one does need to master it or just the basics. Having an understanding of programming languages, understanding how a language operates, understanding the syntax of a programming language is a fantastic skill to have. My first language was actually PHP. I learned PHP back when I was in university. I had no reason to, but I chose to. And it was through understanding how PHP runs, how it works, how you can declare things, that my brain began to understand how that language works. For anyone who has multilingual abilities, who can speak multiple languages, you know what I'm talking about. If you know one language and you learn another one, you have to think a bit differently when you speak and talk and read and write in that language, because it's not the same as your native tongue, usually. Usually it's a bit different. And as a result, you can see things differently and you interpret things differently. Well, it's the same for programming languages. So I use JavaScript as the example. I do love JavaScript. It is a wonderfully, terribly wonderful, there's a word there. It's a fun language. It's very, very loose. It's not a very structured language. You can be there's some great YouTube videos, actually. I'll direct you to YouTube. Go watch those. There's some great videos that explain just how fun JS can be. But it does teach you the structure of programming, about how declaring variables works, about how you can do loops, about how you can print things, write things out, and log things, and then interpret things and change things. And that methodology, the functions you learn, it's actually very similar to Excel. For those who've used Excel, even just the equals something plus something in Excel to sum two things together, that's a skill. And then the and symbol to concatenate two things together. Just knowing that in Excel changes how you use Excel, right? Well, go and learn JavaScript, because you'll learn so many more functions way beyond what Excel has, which will teach you how programming works. And again, just a good base knowledge. If you go through some of those code academies and those base learning platforms, you'll understand enough to be able to get your way through it. You won't be programming the next Facebook, but you will be able to understand some languages, and you can then begin to read and interpret better, which then sets you on that path understanding more and more about the language. Which is, once you jump into Marketing Cloud and you see the proprietary languages of Marketing Cloud, they'll make some sense. Not perfect sense, but different syntax, different keywords. But when you see the word for and loop, it's often very similar across all languages. When you see var or set or some other kind of declarative keyword to set a variable, you go, that's a variable. I know what that is. It just makes it so much easier.
I was going to say, if I was going to dig into JavaScript and have a superpower in JavaScript, I'd be leaning towards functional JavaScript. So understanding how to write functional JavaScript code. So if you were sort of trying to step your JavaScript up, think about the functional aspect of JavaScript, because quite often requirements of functions are described as doing things and mapping inputs to outputs, transforming lists of things that you might fetch from a data extension. But that functional aspect, being able to do that in JavaScript is a really good skill. Understand how JavaScript works in that regard is definitely something. If you've got a little bit of JavaScript, dig deep on the functional aspect of it. You can't use external modules. You've just got JavaScript, but there's still a lot you can do with it.
And in fact, I'll give everyone on the call a takeaway. The task I usually give to people who ask me, where should I start, is this. If you want to learn some JavaScript, my task to you is to make a .html file on your desktop that you can open in Chrome or Safari or Firefox or whatever your choice. And it will show a countdown timer with a number of weeks, days, or months, weeks, days, hours, seconds, until Christmas. Or New Year's, you choose, whatever your festive time is for the year.
32.
Yep. There you go. Someone's got kids. So make a countdown timer in JavaScript and have it so that it actually sits there and ticks down. Don't have it so you have to press F5 to refresh it to make it recount down again, but make a JavaScript a .html file on your desktop. You can open Chrome and it will count down to Christmas. The first second of Christmas Day, it'll be midnight, but make that. Just by doing this simple and an easy task, you'll find yourself building such a skill set. You'll be learning a dozen very, very useful functions to know. Again, some very specific to JavaScript, but just knowing that they even exist as a programming function will help you in everything else that you do.
And you can do this on your notebook right away. You don't need a server. You don't need any external cloud services. It's all there in the
Notepad and a brand new file. You can create a new text file. You right-click, go create new file, untitled.txt, change the .txt to .html. Now it's HTML file. Go and build that HTML file and go and build the JavaScript that will make a countdown timer to Christmas.
We might try and add some links to that because I think that'd be fun. Just a heads up and where to go for that sort of thing.
Yep, it's a great task to have. All right, and a couple more questions here. For a career changer, will a cert be sufficient? Certs are a referee almost for you. Having a cert is a way of saying that I have done this academic training, but I understand these keywords enough for the certification process of Salesforce to give me this certificate. I have read enough, I've learned enough, I've understood and comprehended enough to be at this level. Now, that does not equate to hands-on knowledge. Of course not, because you haven't got hands-on knowledge just yet, but it's still so much more than nothing. If you're coming into a role, if you're applying for a role, and you have someone who says, I'm here to try out, versus someone who says, I'm here to try out and I've got a cert, I can pretty much guarantee who they're going to choose. So it's the closest you can get to having experience without having experience. So for those who are seeking a role in the Marketing Cloud space, absolutely jump on Trailhead, get your login going, get your badges going, get to Ranger, go through your experience. Fun fact, actually, you can get to Ranger now on the Marketing Cloud modules alone, as long as you get a lot of correct answers. Back in my day, you couldn't do that. You had to do some core modules, but now there's enough Marketing Cloud modules, you can get to Ranger without jumping into other clouds. So jump on.
And when you start with Marketing Cloud, most likely you'll be a functional consultant. And that means you're not on the tools, you're working with people on the tools. Having a certification, even just an email specialist certification, means that you can start talking the language from day one. You might not be coding, you think you might not be doing HTML, JavaScript or whatever, but you know what people are talking about, which makes one big difference.
Absolutely. Note too that functional consultants are a very agency partner focused role. If you're looking to join a company or a brand, a customer side, you'll find the roles are usually around the ways of a marketing cloud developer, or it could be a marketing cloud email specialist, or it could be just an email specialist. They often have funny names on customer side, but you'll always find that keyword of marketing cloud at any company that is really focusing on that platform in their business. So again, Seek, Indeed, all those job sites, Career One, search Salesforce Marketing Cloud. You'll often find results straight away with that one. And also once you get your cert, which I think is now through Credly, make sure you link it to your LinkedIn profile. Very important, because there are plenty of job seekers out there, and I'm sure all those on the call today who've got those certs can attest, you'll constantly get tapped because you've got certs. They will search for your keywords of those certs on LinkedIn. So do have them on your LinkedIn profile. It does show that you've done it, which is going to help that recruitment process ever so much. All right, so next question, Dan, was certs gives opportunity? Exactly right. Yeah, in lieu of experience, certs are a great stand-in. I only had my email specialist cert for many years. I only just got my developer, admin, and consultant at the end of last year, start of this year. I've been doing this for 7 years. I had to give him certs a bit of a back seat because it wasn't part of my role, wasn't part of my job. And I wasn't changing roles where I needed to have those certs on my CV or my LinkedIn. But it got to the point where I thought, no, you know what? I'm 7 years old in Marketing Cloud. I should really do my certs. And so I did. So don't ask me about studying because I didn't. I've been doing this so long now that I could take each cert and not study, which was great. But in lieu of that experience, in lieu of that tenure, get your certs. Even for just the quizzes yourself, as you go through and study for them, you'll be exposed to so many topics, so many more keywords that you may not be exposed to in your day job. As a consultant, like Matt said, you may be just consulting, talking about strategies. But if you want to take your developer cert, you got to think about APIs. You got to think about payloads. You got to think about throughputs of data and latency of calls. And these are not things you got to do in your day job. But having that knowledge will enrich your ability to respond to customer questions in your day job. So it just reinforces all of it. You get stronger and stronger, better and better. And last question I've got on my feed today from Lakshmi, thank you. I think you answered it, but one more to ask. Is it possible to get SMC without having hands-on? Can someone showcase their curiosity? So how can you showcase curiosity? Probably going to be through circles like this, jumping into communities like this. On these community groups, not just the SMC DG one, but there's more out there as well, including the Slack communities. I think there's Discord communities, there's the Trailblazers community, there's so many. There's so many. Join them, be a part of them. Some job recruiters will post job links on the communities, especially our LinkedIn community with almost 11,000. Actually, I should refresh that page. How close are we? Oh, we must be close, Matt. Must be close.
Oh, let me have a look. Let me have a look.
You know what? I think we're actually going to tip over today. I think we are. We are only a handful away. So we will tip over probably by tonight. Jump in those communities. Job posters, people who are looking for people to jump in, will post on communities about jobs that are coming. Now, again, have a look at those roles. You'll see the role title is often a good indicator of what the job might look like, but always read that PD and look for those key words. Is it email focused? Is it data focused? Automation focused? Developer focused? Consultant focused? There's so many angles to take here, and they all have different overlapping amounts. If you're working in a very, very large company, your role may be very narrow, but you've got some great expertise in that very special part of that role. If it's a much smaller company, it might just be you and one other person doing Marketing Cloud, in which case you both together have to fill all those seats. Someone has to be the admin, someone has to send and build and check and report and do all those roles. So it's very, very important to understand what those skills are, understand how those roles conform to the business needs, how many colleagues you'll be working with, because the more people you work with, the more experts you have around you, the chances are the more narrow your roles and responsibilities will be. So when it comes to career guidance, probably running out of time to talk through this much today, but opportunities out there, customer side is great. You'll be building and sending emails, seeing the real impact of what you do in Marketing Cloud by the way of transactions or renewals or whatever the KPI is for that business. You'll be building emails with your brand logo on it, sending them out to real customers who subscribe to receive your emails and seeing the impact in your business, making reports, presenting them to your boss who shows them at the monthly meetings. You'll get that hands-on experience being the email person, the person behind the inbox. Great experience to have. Jumping into partner side and agency side. When you work on agency and partner side, you're working with customers all the time, and multiples in some cases at the same time. You'll be exposed to all kinds of different business sizes, from small to enterprise, and industries, from fintech to education to non-for-profits to commercial, to everything in between. And so you're exposed to different types of industry operations, B2C, B2B. You'll get a lot of experience there as well. You'll be consulting, building, and developing for them, but you won't be accountable most of the time for pressing send. So you won't be doing that campaign reporting and the whole getting into the business and how email really works. You'll be more building the back end stuff. So two very different experience paths. Now, I'm not going to say which one's first and which one's best. It's an absolute chicken and the egg. Absolute chicken and the egg. I would not stray from that. I would recommend to everyone who is looking at Marketing Cloud as a product career to truly consider trying both. The exposure and experience you get from both roles in any particular order will enrich your career path, because you'll both get to own something in a brand, send it yourself, have your fingerprints being sent to millions of customers around the world or around the country. And as a consultant, work across different companies and verticals and variables, talking to CEOs and email builders of all sizes and scales. The exposure you'll get and the learnings you'll get are fantastic in both. So do try them both.
I personally believe that to be a good consultant, you need to have some experience on the tech. So you need to know how much you fear that send button, because if you're sending out to 100,000 people and you're going to press that button, you need to know you've done your cross checks before you hit that button, because it's a big deal, and you sort of really have to think about it, because you are sending out to 100,000 people. What if I've got the wrong list? What if I? And all that stuff's just so important. It might sound basic and fundamental, but without that in the back of your mind about what you're doing and what it means, I think doing the hands-on's important. So I think being a consultant without the hands-on it's a bit light. I think if you got to get asked as a consultant, and how do I do this? What's it mean to do that? And you really need to be able to connect to the tool, even the fear of hitting that send button.
Absolutely. 100,000 rows in data extension means nothing.
Yeah. Every specialist is terrified of that send button at some stage when they sit to that send.
It's just a number until you have to press send. And all of a sudden, 100,000 emails is a lot more worrisome. We've all, in fact, some of the best email people I know have all made at least one mistake in their career. At least one.
Yep.
So don't be afraid of it. Mistakes are good training opportunities. I myself have truncated, deleted a data extension, which was the master customer data extension in a Marketing Cloud instance. I deleted it by accident. I didn't mean to, but I did. And it took me about 2 days to get it back, to rebuild it and repopulate it. And I now know not to be too hasty when I click buttons. So every mistake you make is an opportunity.
I think that wraps it up. Have we got any more questions there, or?
Yeah, Matt and Cameron, a small question or maybe a clarification needed here. See, let me put it in this way. So how much long does one need to take to learn, let's say, Email Studio or Journey Builder, or both of them together? How much time will it take to get at least the basic term? For example, right, why I'm asking this question, because I am purely from the engineering side. I don't know zero, and I mean I am a zero in marketing in terms of the terms and technology you guys use here. So how much difficult and how much time will it take for one to at least go from a beginner to an intermediate?
So if you had access to the tools and you had some people around you that could help you get a start, I'd say for your first campaign that you'd want to give it 3 or 4 days, just do it, and just to work thoroughly through what everything meant about it. But once you've sort of got familiarity, which you can do through Trailhead, when you're starting, then you've got to find the menu options. You've got to find where stuff lives. But once you've got that little bit of familiarity, I think you could easily be knocking over a campaign in a matter of hours. But that's, how long's a piece of string? Where's the content coming from? Where's the data coming from? There's so many questions there. So I've got in my mind what that means, but it means something different to everyone. Cameron, what's your take on that?
100%. Everyone learns differently as well. I am not a particularly strong academic learner. I can't read something and then do it. I need to read it, then pick up the thing. I need to shake it. I need to drop it. I need to smash it on the ground into a billion pieces and then reassemble it. And that's how I learn. So I need to break it. I need to make mistakes to become an expert. That's just how my brain works. Others have different ways of learning. And based on how you learn, based on what tools you have access to, and also what resources around you. I spent probably the first 2 years of my Marketing Cloud journey, forgive the pun, pretty much by myself, not really having a lot of people around me who I knew in Marketing Cloud besides my own teammates and colleagues. I didn't know there was a Trailblazer community group. I didn't know that there was Salesforce events. I didn't know these things. And so I was very alone. And I learned things just by myself in a very closed environment. So straight away, the people we've had in this meeting today are already ahead of me when I was starting out in my career. So it's collaboration. Matt alluded to it earlier on. If you can get access to more resources around you, and I'm not saying, cling on for dear life to someone as a knowledgeable expert and try and take the knowledge from their brain. Not at all. It's surround yourself with people who can speak the language. Surround yourself with resources, digitally and physically, who can help you to learn and understand. It can help a lot in a more connected environment, especially in the office. If you have someone next to you who can say, hey, come and check out this AMP script I wrote. What do you think? Because they may see it and go, oh, yeah, that's pretty good, but you actually got some redundant code there. You can teach each other these things. When you come to these groups and you have developing experts who can jump on, often Matt has a few invited special guests. They take you through the code and you pick up little things. So the more you expose yourself to it, the faster you'll learn. So when someone says, how many weeks or years will it take me to learn this thing? As Matt said, it's a piece of string. Depends how you immerse yourself.
I just thinking out loud, this isn't Marketing Cloud. There's a service called Email.js. It's free to sign up to, and it lets you set up a template with a lot of the things that Cameron was talking about. And you can attach it to your Gmail account, so you can use Gmail as a service to send it out. You can create a form to populate it to make the send. I think we might do as a bit of a workshop soon. I think it'd be really good to go through that. Just break it down, break the basics down, not just the generic stuff. It's not Marketing Cloud stuff. It's just the generic email sending stuff, the HTML, the SSS, SQL, CSS, all that basic stuff, and just do a show and tell about how it works. Because if you know it, you just got to learn where to put it in Marketing Cloud. Like, you just got to know it goes in the content block, has this stuff in it, and that's where you put your content or your style sheet, or like the data extension. You just got to know that it's over there, and you've got to put the data in there. It's just knowing it's two sides of it. It's a tool, so you've got to know how to use the tool, and the tool has all the same things as all the other tools have got. You just need to know what the things are that need to be inside the bits inside the tool, like the HTML and the JavaScript and that sort of stuff. So we might set up another session soon just to do a walkthrough on that, on this product called Email.js. It's free to start, so it doesn't cost anything. You can hook it up to your Gmail and you can experiment and really get some hands-on. So when you do get to the Marketing Cloud, you've got, oh yeah, I know what HTML is. I know how to do a send. I know how a lot of the bits and pieces work, and you just got to bridge that gap.
Absolutely.
Just a thought.
There's another question that's just come through there, Matt, which I might jump into as well. Yeah. And that's how to get in when everyone's asking for 2 to 3 years experience. Yep, that's definitely a thing. Oops. So you'll often find that when it comes to the requirements of some of these roles, again, I did mention there are some junior and senior variations of those roles. The more years experience they ask for, generally, the more critical that role is, and of course, the more experience they want. Salesforce is a very big platform. It's an enterprise platform, and not many companies are going to want to give the keys to a first-year learner. Of a platform of that size, of course, they're going to want to have someone who's quite senior to help coach a more junior user. So how to justify coming into a role like that? Well, probably the role you're looking at might be a bit too senior for your current skill set. There are plenty of entry-level roles, and even as entry levels sometimes say, experience with something like MailChimp or experience with something of another web email platform. So to put yourself as a point of difference against your competition, it's to jump into those platforms for yourself and try it out. If you can speak to the concepts of making an email, what's a subject line? What's a pre-header? These are very common terms for an email builder. If you know what those things are and how to write them, what the best practices are, what the shortcomings are of some options and some strategies there, you'll be able to straight away be ahead of those who already have experience because you've gone and shown that you know what you're talking about.
If you could set one of those up in MailChimp, good for you.
Exactly right.
Because you've actually gone through the technique of doing it.
Exactly right. So while Marketing Cloud is quite exclusive to get into, it's going to take some application and take some time to get into. There are so many peripheries that you can be picking up and becoming fluent in. Those hard skills, those platforms, those soft skills, like Matt mentioned, that are going to really help you in your application to achieve one of those roles. Look out for junior titles. Look out for 1-year experience titles. Generally, a certificate or 2 will help you to compromise on the whole 1 or 2 years experience thing, because you would expect, and in fact, I think the certificates actually say that to do your email specialist, you should have 6 months experience. So by having a couple of certs, you can begin to negotiate and say, well, no, you're right. I haven't got experience, but I have got 2 certs, and I do know these languages. I can speak to these laws and these processes and these other key techniques. So while I am a day 0 user, I'm not a day 0 incompetence. I do actually have some good background here. Now, I think that, Matt, was most of the questions, and we have, I believe, almost hit time today as well.
Oh, it doesn't matter if we go over a little bit. We're going to do this properly. The email will come out afterwards with the links. It'll go out to all the members. We'll make sure we've got everything covered off that we've talked about here. Like I said, we'll do this again in about a month's time. We'll try and do that email JS workshop before the end of the year. Just it'll be a workshop event. We'll open up the screen. We'll all share what we're doing and just work through a couple of scenarios on that, just as a hands-on thing. Volunteer opportunities. Look, reach out if you're wanting to do that sort of thing, and we'll just try and connect. I think it's the only way we can do it. It's difficult it's not a marketplace. It's really just a matter of lining people up and working out just working through it as the opportunity arises. And go into the LinkedIn group and introduce yourself and do that Marketing Cloud Minute and reach out if you'd like some help with that, because it's just a great way of helping people to know about what you do and to share your tips, even if it's a getting started tip. It shows who you are and what you mean to others in the group. And like that exercise we did before about listening, turn it around. If people can see you through how you're helping, then they can see that you're a helper. And that's such a great thing to have. Just makes such a big difference. Showing that it's an awesome super skill if you can really show it off, and showing it off gets you noticed. So that's all I've got to say there.
Definitely. I'm going to have to go, unfortunately. My little trailblazer just gotten home from daycare. Can you say hi?
Hello.
Yeah, hello. So I might have to run, but thank you all for your time today. It's been great presenting to you. And any questions, jump into the SFMCDG Slack group, the LinkedIn group, and reach out on the Trailblazer community as well. There's a lot of experts who are always willing to help.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Cameron.
Okay, bye.